And this trip's going to take us through some of the beautiful parts of the Victorian High Country, where we're going to cover some of the history of the many cattlemen huts that are scattered throughout this region. And you can either come up here for a day trip and see them, or ideally spend a few days up here and explore this country for what it is. Now, when travelling through these remote areas, and particularly the Victorian High Country, it's advisable to travel with either a group or a mate. In this case, I've got Scott coming along. I've known Scott now for about 4 or 5 years, and he loves the high country as much as I do, so I'm really looking forward to having this trip with him. Well, we are going to do a number of river crossings today, and it is good practice to get out and have a bit of a look, just to make sure there isn't any hidden surprises, being big rocks or logs in the crossing before you drive over. But this one's not too bad. It is shallow, the water's crystal clean, so I don't think we're going to have any problems. We're not going to need to walk this one. What do you think, mate?
No, I think it's nice, clear and clean. Should be a nice walk in the park.
Let's get into it, eh?
Yep, let's do it.
Let's go. We've just arrived down here at King River Hut. We're going to catch up with Gavin Powell, who is the president of the Victorian High Country Huts Association. So let's go and meet him.
I've been involved with the High Country Huts Association now since 2006. Previous to that, it was formed just after the 2003 fires by a group of people from the Mount Hotham area, and in conjunction with Peter Jacobs, who was the Chief Ranger for the Alpine National Park at the time. Funding's come across and we've sort of grown from there, rebuilding, preserving and conserving the huts of the high country. We're an association with approximately 130 members. There's corporate members amongst that, including four-wheel drive clubs. All our work is completely voluntary, all the labour force. We do get some funding from DSE and Parks Victoria through their community grants program.
Since the high country is so large as we know it is, how do you get around to all the huts? I mean, there's so many of them around. How do you manage them all?
Well, what we do, Tim, is that because the high country is so big and it stretches from Marysville to beyond Corryong and so Mansfield down below nearly to Traralgon, the high country is broken up into 12 separate regions, and each region has its own huts maintenance officer for that particular region who looks after his huts in his area and liaises directly with the landholder, whether it be the Department of Environment and Primary Industries and Parks Victoria.
Well, knowing with the King River Hut here that this is probably one of the most recent rebuilds, how many people and sort of who was involved in getting this one back out of the ground again?
Well, this particular hut here was rebuilt in the 2009 time, Easter 2009.
Yep.
We came up here it was rebuilt with community funding money that we had left over. We stripped the place down because all that was left here was just a pile of tin. The weekend before Easter, we came up, set the stumps in the ground, let them all dry off, and then came up here the Easter weekend and had it all completed by Easter Monday.
And just have a look at the attention to detail that the association's gone to get this hut rebuilt. You've got this magnificent fireplace here which will keep you warm, and if you ever get stuck out here in the elements, you'll be very thankful for the association to keep rebuilding these huts for everyone to come down here and enjoy them. But not only that, check out the view out this window here out over the King River. It's just absolutely beautiful. Is there any way of sort of getting in to protect these huts to try and save them from any sort of bushfires that do come through these areas?
The Huts Association, as I mentioned before, with the Huts maintenance officers, every year before the fire season, part of his role is to come in here and travel around to all of his huts and just reduce the amount of fuel litter that is around, that can set the huts on fire. As well as that, several years ago, the association, through funding monies left over, we purchased an amount of FireZat blanket. It's a special blanket that we're able to wrap our huts in, as we did at the recent Harrietville fires were on. The rappelling crews dropped out of the helicopters into the remote areas, wrapped the huts in the blanket, yes, and the huts were saved.
That's fantastic. How can people get involved with the association to be involved with these rebuilds to make sure these huts are around for future generations to enjoy?
Well, they're more than welcome, Tim, to come and visit our Facebook page and our website, hutsvictoria.org.au. And if everybody could just come out and help preserve and conserve these high country huts, they certainly will be around for many generations to come.